Okay, like I was saying, I'll wait. Gothic is based on the square, okay? And it is 4 to 5 pen widths high, 45-degree angle. So this is the letter O right here. I want you to notice how the inside, we call that the negative space, is equal to the width of the verticals, okay? So I'm going to give a couple examples during class today of words that have equal spacing between the vertical lines. And that's probably the main thing I'll be grading on for Gothic. We're not going to do the optional exercises. But essentially, here are the strokes of Gothic. It's just vertical lines and diamonds. That's it. This is like 90% of them. There will be some curvy lines, like for the letter D, G, and Y, which I'll go over a couple of those today. But let's just start. Exercise number 1. Getting back into the rhythm of 45-degree pen angle. Okay? And that's this one right here. So we've done this many, many times. I don't need you to spend 5 minutes on it. So we're going to take 1 minute. You should be able to do this fairly quickly. The downward stroke is the thickest part of your line. Obdulia, thank you. When you go up, it's at a 45-degree angle. It's the thinnest line possible with this pen. Down, up, down, up. So get into a rhythm. Don't take too much time, but don't go too slow either. Move your paper towards your belly button as you're moving towards the right. Move the paper to the left. Okay, this should not be rocket science. You've worked with 45-degree angles. You've worked with upward strokes and downward strokes. I will say that Gothic is easier, well, for many people, easier than italic. We're not going to have things like finials. We're not going to have things like branches. Some of the things that italic uses, we won't use for Gothic or black letter. Thank you, Mondo. Go ahead and pick up your pen. Excellent. All right, so that should take literally like 45 seconds, nothing more. So I'm going to give you a couple more seconds. Mark, go ahead and grab paper, pen, and ink. And then Gothic is right here. All right. Excellent. All right. You can finish that up on your own time, but you should really just be done with it. Exercise 2 is on diamonds. We're going to have regular diamonds and we're going to have elongated diamonds. These are all regular diamonds, okay? So let's take a closer look at what this is saying. What we're going to be doing is drawing these diamonds on but below the waistline, just like that. It touches the waistline, but it's below it. We're also going to have diamonds right below it, completely vertical below it, on but above the baseline. So it's not going underneath at the bottom diamond, and it's not going above at the top diamond. We're going to be using diamonds that sit on top of the waistline. We're going to be using diamonds that sit below it, on top of the baseline, and below it. Now, what I'm doing, I'll zoom in here so you can see, is when I draw that diamond, I pick up my pen. This bottom corner, the bottom of that diamond, I'm beginning with the right corner of my nib on that bottom corner, and I'm just pulling down. Okay, so they're just touching like so. What you don't want is something like this, right? That is a no-no. This is no. That's yes. So it's on the line but above it, on the line, start at the corner of the diamond and pull down. Some people last class were doing like really long diamonds. We're not there yet. That's an elongated diamond for some letters. We don't need it right now. Okay, so that's a no. We will also use diamonds that, for the ascender, float in the ascender space right here, in the space above. We will use diamonds for descenders that float in the center of the descender space. Lise, is something wrong with your pen? No. Well, yes, there is. It's not writing. All right. So those will be good for ascenders and descenders. We will have diamonds on top of each other like so inside the X height. We will have diamonds floating in the center of the X height. So I'll zoom in there so you can see. I pulled down. This is basically a period for italic. And then the left corner of my nib touches just the right corner of that first diamond, and I pull down. Okay, so they should touch. You're not doing this though. That's no. I want to see those corners just barely touching. We will also have diamonds that are below the waistline that touch each corner 3 in a row. We will also have diamonds on top of the baseline touching each other 3 in a row. That's like for the letter M or the letter W. Okay, so let's repeat that because this is helping you practice diamonds. I don't want like curvy diamonds like that. I don't want big diamonds like that. These are no, but this is yes. Okay, so look at your exercise packet, and we're just going to repeat these diamonds over and over and over across the page. I'm going to give us 30 seconds for this. You're not probably going to finish, but I want to get on to the first letter of the alphabet pretty soon. We have a couple more practice ones to go with. All right, on but below, diamond, 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 diamond. All right. Worry about ice skating on your own time. Make sure you're moving the paper to the left so it's in front of your belly button. Take 10 more seconds. So we have to connect those diamonds with something. And that something is a vertical line. Remember, Gothic is all about diamonds and vertical lines. That's it. Especially for the minuscule letters, the lowercase letters. So exercise 3. What do you notice about exercise 3 when I zoom in here? This is the waistline right here, and this is the baseline. What do you notice about those verticals? They're what?
They're floating.
They're not touching the waistline or baseline. They're floating. Unlike italic, like the italic I, it touches the waistline, touches the baseline. Well, in Gothic, our vertical lines, for the most part, there's a couple that are exceptions, they're going to be floating in between the waistline and the baseline. So let's try 5 or 6 together in a row. Again, looking at spacing. The spacing in between each vertical should be fairly consistent. We're going to have ascenders, so they're going to start in the center of the ascender space and stop right above the baseline. It floats above the baseline. This is the baseline. So let's try 4 or 5 of those, because the tricky thing is getting your verticals completely straight. This is not italic where you have a forward slant. No slants in Gothic. They're going to be completely vertical. So I don't want to see any like curvy lines like that because you're nervous or you're old or scared or something. I want to see perfectly vertical, straight strokes. We will also have descenders, so those are going to float right below the waistline but pull it down to the center of the descender space. So let's practice a few descender lines. You might be really good with the short lines. Awesome. Okay? You may not be so good with the long lines. You might have to practice straight strokes. Pretend pulling it towards your belly button. If you're starting to get crooked, slanty lines, it's because it's not in front of your belly button. Pretend that line is on a string and you're pulling it towards the center of your stomach. Keeping that 45 degrees. Go back to floating. Once you have a few of the descender lines floating inside the x height, like so. All of these are 45 degree at the top and 45 degrees at the bottom. Okay. You can finish that on your own time. Let's move on to exercise number 4, which are crossbars. Crossbars happen in the T, in the Z. I'm trying to think of one that has a crossbar at the bottom. On but below the waistline. Floating in the center. They're not really long. They're not like this. That's way too long. And then, I can't think of any right now, but a crossbar on the baseline. On but above it. So your whole row of exercise 4 will look like this. Straight, not curved. I don't want to see anything like that. Come perfectly horizontal. Salud. Okay. Take 10 seconds while I write out the first word. Black letter. All verticals, all diamonds. This does not have the letter D in it, which could have a curve. I'll show you that in a second. Or the letter S or the letter G or Y. Okay? So we're going to start with the A. This is the basic A. Your alphabet sheet has, I wouldn't say it's like advanced, but it is a different style of A. I'll show you both, but we're going to start with the simple one first, which is this one. Okay? Let's head to a new line. There we are. We're going to have, why don't you watch me first, and then we'll do it together. So we're going to have a floater, a vertical line that floats. Then watch what I do. I'm going to take my pen off the paper, move it to the left a little bit. The reason for that is I want this little lip right here. That little lip. I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Have a diamond at the top. So there we have the letter C. But to make the letter A, lift your pen off, move it to the left a little bit. So we have this little lip or this roof right here. There's our letter O. And then we add a tail. Okay? Now, what I could do, which is probably, whoops, going to make it a little easier for you to see, is if I break them down with different colors. Okay, so letter A is going to be vertical stroke. It's floating. Second stroke, pull over. Third stroke, pull over. Fourth stroke, pull down and connect. The fifth stroke is the tail. Okay? So, what we want to do, and I'll zoom in here. Whoops, there we are. Is at the top. The reason why it's floating is because we're going to take this corner right here and we're going to pull down. Okay? If you start at the very top and then you pull down, you get that. We don't want that. That's no. This is yes. So we want this right here to barely touch. We don't want it to overlap. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah? And the only way to do this is to practice it. So if you're seeing your lines overlapping like that, no. We need to make sure that they float below, and then this touches just barely. Okay? So let's flip back here. Let's try a few A's of the basic A's. There we are. Oh, I bled. The ink bled through. All right, vertical. Pick it up. Move to the left. Pull down. Sort of a longer diamond, right? It's more like this. It's not too short. So again, pull down. Pull down. Pull down. Move to the left. Pull down. Just touch that corner right there. Add the tail. That is the basic A. Let me show you the A on your alphabet sheet. That's a little more complicated, but you can still do it. This one's going to start off with an elongated diamond, a long diamond. Pick your pen off the paper, move it towards the left, pull down. That way you have this little roof right there. Add the tail. Looks like a funky eye. But then we're going to go back right underneath where we started, right there. We're going to pull down, pick our pen off the paper, move it to the left, and then add an elongated diamond. And just touch this corner right here. Don't overlap it. And technically, you're going to use the corner of your nib to draw a really fine line down from the top of the first stroke down to the 4th stroke right there. That's going to enclose it. I know it's a little tricky. Let me draw it a little bigger so you might see it better. Okay, so first stroke is 1. Second stroke is 2, floats. Third stroke is 3. Fifth stroke comes down. Sixth stroke comes over and just touches that corner. Pull that wet ink down and curl it towards the second to last stroke. That is the letter A. Look at the space between the verticals. The space between the verticals is the width of my pen. We want to make sure we do that. We don't want an A like this. Oh my goodness gracious. That is way too wide. Oh. Black letter, remember I said when it's condensed on a page, it's a lot of black. That's why we call it black letter. There's a lot of black ink. So if you're making too much space in between your verticals, it would be called white letter. No, we want black letter. Okay, let's take 10 seconds. You'll like we always do, you're going to go back and finish each row on your own. Let's do a couple more A's. You can alternate, figure out which one you like. Okay. The B. Again, just like in italic, a lot of these letters are similar. So watch me first. Let me draw it over here. The B is an ascender, so it's going to start halfway up in the ascender space. Pull down, have it float above the baseline. You're going to have an elongated diamond, not a short diamond, an elongated one. You're going to have another diamond at the top right there, on but below the waistline, and then pull down to connect. The last thing is adding the serif, which is just this little tick right there at the top. What's wrong with that? Anyone tell me what's wrong with that? What did I just tell you that deals with spacing? Is this the width of my pen? No. So I need to make it so when I'm practicing, I'm going to notice that, and I'm going to start to make my verticals a little closer. So those diamonds aren't going to be as long. That's a lot better. Whoops. And then add you do a little fishtail like that for the serif at the top. That would be fine. On this paper, it's going to look like this. All right, ready? It's going to be, let's start right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Serif. Thank you. Thank you. This B is a little crooked, right? There's more space here, less space here, so no slants. That's my problem. My problem is getting everything nice and vertical. There's no variation to this V, or B. You could add a serif like this, little shark tail, something like that at the top. Something like that could work. I believe the first Bible ever printed, it was written for thousands of years. First Bible ever printed, though, using a printing press, used black letter, used Gothic type. So, I take my Vada students down to the Huntington, and they have one of, I think there's only 8 Gutenberg Bibles printed in the world, and Pasadena's Huntington Library has one of the 8. Sort of pretty, exciting to see in person. There's the B, okay? Now, la C, the C. Simple, simple, simple. The C is going to be a floater, like so. You're going to have an elongated diamond. Sometimes I do a little flick up with the edge of my pen, just going up like that. And then, watch this, because all your C's have to have this. You're going to pull down, and while the pen, or while the ink is still wet, you're going to take the left corner of your nib, or if you're a left-handed person, the right corner of your nib. Pull that wet ink down and have it curve a little bit. You can add a little loop right there too. Okay? So that happens with the C, that happens with the R, it might happen with a couple other letters as well. So again, the C will be 1, 2, 3, and then that little hairline at the top of the C. So on this paper, it'll look like so. Skip a line. You're going to turn this in for credit, and Joseph will be grading it for completion. 3, corner of your nib, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So last class, the problem was, here's a giant vertical, okay? The second stroke needs to start right here, so you need to be coming down like so, all right? That's what I want to see. So, John, what I don't want to see is this. No. I said John, not Joe. I want to see those corners just barely touching. If it's overlapping, it's just going to be too dark and too black. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Let's move on to the D, the letter D. I'm going to show you 2 ways to draw the D, and then you get to choose which one you prefer. What? Bathroom? After the D, yes. Okay, watch up here. The D is different. We're going to start on the waistline, but we're going to float above the baseline. Okay? Second stroke is going to be an elongated diamond. Not short, but elongated. Here's one variation. This third stroke could be straight, like so. And then the fourth stroke would come down and connect. There's one D. Another D could look like this. 1, 2. This could be curved, like so. 3, and then 4. Right? So you can curve that, or you can keep it flat. Just make sure that the space in between your verticals is skinny. So on green bar paper, it'll look like this. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole time. 1, 2, or 3, 4. Go ahead and practice a couple of these. I'm going to write a word out, and I'm going to see if you could figure out what it says. Oh, that's a really bad D. This is too much. That little roof right there, thank you, Julie, is too big. All right, so we got to practice on just a little roof, just a little lip right here. Let me write this word. After Chris gets back. I won't trust you in there with Chris.
Oh, I don't know what Chris does.
Oh, I know what you do. I know what you do. He studies in the bathroom.
Stop it. No.
There's me and Kim saw a ghost.
Saw a ghost.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, it's Sarah's getting my charger.
We're at the Mesa. We saw a ghost.
Here's a... Yeah, what?
I'm serious.
Was this on Halloween?
No, it was not on Halloween.
Okay. We're going to put the ghost story on
Yes, it
pause.
was. You tripping. It was a light.
Take a look at this word. Look at it.
I swear.
Thank you, Danny. Matt. Can anyone figure out what this word says? It is the word minimum. If I add the dots on the I and the I, you might see it better. So when it comes to Gothic, when I say, I know they all look like the same. I mean, it's basically these diamonds and verticals put together. I will do this when it comes time to grade, but like I said, the spacing in between the verticals should be consistent. So if I cut off the diamonds, notice all those verticals, for the most part, are equally spaced. It's trippy, man, right? So when you see the diamonds, you see a word. When you cut them off, I see equal spacing. Well, for the most part, equal. Right, Matt? Would you agree? Would you agree? Yeah, you don't, yeah. Okay? That is the word minimum. Let's go on to the E. Last class, we ended with the G, okay? So let's try and keep up with last class. Let me go on to this paper. The E is a floater with an elongated diamond, a shorter diamond, there's our C, and then on this same stroke we're pulling back like so. That's our C. Some people choose to add a horizontal line across. Okay? That is optional. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is optional. Green bar paper, it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Horizontal line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to grade the capitals because we only did like 4 or 5 of them. All right. The bottom of the E should be a little longer than the top of the E, like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. Optional. If a line ends in an E, you can do a fishtail like so. Fishtail flourish. Only if a line ends in an E. Horizontal lines are optional. A little longer, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see an E on there, Danny. Gotta get going on those E's, because now we're on to the F. You had no practice with the E. What's up with that D, the N, the bottom? Yeah, you started off perfect, and then you just like slacked. The F. First stroke is an ascender, like the B. Second stroke is the diamond at the bottom. We practiced that in the practice exercise. Third stroke starts at the top, and then you pull down. Fourth stroke is a crossbar on but below the waistline. There's our F. There's no variation to the F. The F looks like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Green bar paper. One, 2, 3, 4. It's not super tall. If I see an F that looks like this, I'm going to tell you to shorten it up. That just looks funky. Okay, that's no. All right, make it a little shorter. You got this F? You're never going to learn how to do this if it's not in your hand and it's not on the paper. You could watch me for 100 hours. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at it. Nayeli, come on up. With your... Oh, did she take off? All right, last one is going to be the G. And then you're on your own to finish off what we started. The G has a curve. Okay, Lisberta? Lista? La G. First stroke. Oh, there we go. All right. Watch up here. First stroke is going to be 1. It's going to be a floater. My bad, thank you. Second stroke to the left. Pull down an elongated diamond. Third stroke, like so. So we have a C. Here's the difference. Watch. We're going to pull down, and when we touch that corner, we're going to curve it around. That's the fourth stroke. The fifth stroke is coming back around and connecting it. Whoa. That's one option. Another option is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can do this. Go up and then down and connect. Either G will work. There you go. No, that's almost perfect. Here's what you need to do to make it perfect, Matt. This is what you need to do. Tell me the difference between my G and Kim's G. Kimchi? What's the difference? Yeah, pretty good. Oh, well, that's true, but what's the characteristics that make it better? You don't have to come all the way down. If you're going all the way down, it's too big. You're not going to have room for your next line. So only halfway. So hers is a little low. But these are good, yeah. This is a little slanty right here. Kim, that's a little slanty. This one's better. Vertical and vertical. Good job. So that's a no. This is a yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could do that one as well. 5. Either one. Let's try a few G's together. I prefer this one. For some reason, I like it. It's more elegant. I like the roundness, especially when you have a whole page of straight lines. A little curve in there gets a good touch, right? Good contrast. Whereas this one is still too straight for me. This one right here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cheese and crackers.
Terrence, we're not pros.
You're about to be pros. All right, I want to see something that looks like that. Holy guacamole. Any questions?
The Black Ops 4 writing.
What? All right.